Hello, this is J.N.S, and today we are continuing with the Revolutionary series, and we're going to be covering someone that changed my viewpoint on a lot of things in my approach to the work that I do, and her name is Korryn Gaines, and I'm going to draw some parallels between her story and my own way of thinking, because the story is important to me because I had saw myself in her at one point in time. When I was 25, I want to say I was either 25 or 26 years old. I believe I was 25. I may even been 24. I just got my dates wrong. But this story in particular really haunted me for years, because when everything went down, it was so vivid for me. I remembered everything, and then I remember seeing myself in her, and I had to reflect during this period. Like, her story, her life story, made me reflect on my whole approach to life and what I was thinking, the way I was doing things. So and I'll explain that in detail once I get past Korryn Gaines' story and give her background. I'll draw some parallels between my own story, because it will help the community understand me better in terms of my approach and why I take the stance that I take on a lot of things, because again, her story spoke volumes to me, and I'll get into everything. So Korryn Gaines was a 23-year-old woman from Randallstown, Maryland, and was employed as a hairstylist. And she was wanted, unfortunately, on a bench warrant for failing to appear in court following a traffic stop and other traffic offenses, and this is according to the Baltimore County Police. So Gaines was pulled over by a police officer for driving without a license plate. Now, the officers had gave her a citation and ordered her to exit her vehicle, and informing her that they would be impounding it as it had no license and was no longer registered in the state of Maryland. And then after that, they got into like a verbal conflict, and she told the officer, "You're not going to kidnap me." After the officers ordered her to get out the car, she told them, "You will have to kill me." And at that point, she began holding her baby child. So the shooting of Korryn Gaines occurred on August 1st, 2016 in Randallstown, Maryland, near Baltimore, resulting in her death ultimately at 23 years old, and also the shooting of her 5-year-old son, who actually survived. So Baltimore County Police Department officers, they arrived at Gaines' apartment at Carriage Hill Apartments on Sulky Court to give her her warrant. And Gaines was in the apartment with her 5-year-old son and her baby. And according to police statements, she had armed herself with a Mossberg shotgun. And at that point, a standoff between Gaines and the police ensued. So one police officer had actually fired a shot, and so Gaines fired back with a buckshot. So officers responded with 3 shots, hitting Gaines, and Gaines' 5-year-old son Cody was shot in the crossfire. So Cody's arm was struck by the bullets, and he suffered an elbow injury and bullet fragments in his face. So Korryn Gaines' boyfriend, Kareem Courtney, who was living with Gaines at the time, he wasn't working, he was actually selling drugs. He abandoned her and took his daughter that he had with her, who was 1 year old. He took her and was briefly detained by police, and he left. And so he left the 5-year-old with her, who wasn't his child. So she started to record and live stream the whole standoff on Facebook, where Korryn Gaines, friends were, obviously concerned about her. And she told her son in the live stream that the police are coming to kill us. So upon her refusal to let them in, police had got a key from the rental office, but they found that the chain lock blocked their entry, so she had put the chain lock on. So an officer had kicked in the door. The police had also requested Facebook to deactivate Gaines' Facebook and Instagram accounts, and Facebook and Instagram obliged. They actually turned her accounts off, which is very suspicious if you ask me. Now, the shooting was not recorded, as officers were not wearing police body cams. and they said that their body can't. They said that their body cam program had just started. However, portions of the standoff were recorded by Gaines and posted to social media. You can still find many of those clips on YouTube to this day. So police later stated that while there is no police footage of inside the apartment, some officers assigned to the support roles outside were wearing body cameras. So in 2018, a jury awarded the Gaines family $38 million in damages after finding that the first shot fired by Royce Ruby and killing Gaines was not reasonable and thus violated her civil rights. The verdict was overturned in February 2019 by Judge Mickey Norman, who ruled that physical evidence suggests that Gaines was raising her weapon when shot, thus posing a threat to Ruby and his team. So the judge felt like the police officer's actions was reasonable. But in July 2020, an appeal court reinstated the $38 million award for Korryn Gaines' family. So, to be honest, I want to give my thoughts on what I really think this was a case of in terms of her even being stopped initially. Korryn Gaines had a YouTube channel. She actually had videos of her doing like very radical poetry, very nice poetry, but it was what would be deemed, kind of radical. And she was in the conscious community. She was following all of that stuff about the sovereign citizenship, about saying that you're a traveler when you're driving your car, so that you don't necessarily have to have a license plate or have it even registered, because you have to say that you're traveling because you're a part of some Moroccan laws or some shit like that. So she was following that. She was following Khalid Muhammad's teaching. She was following all of these black men's teachings in the conscious community who say you got to stand your ground. And some of the teachings of even some former revolutionaries like Malcolm X. She was following the work of Malcolm X, in terms of self-defense and standing your ground when you are being targeted and harassed. So she followed all of the teachings of the conscious community, and look where it got her, and the reason why it stood out to me is because I was in a conscious community. But I want to draw back a bit and say how I personally felt that they saw that YouTube channel. Somebody saw that YouTube channel and targeted her. Like, targeted harassment is real. And a lot of times when you're putting stuff on the internet, you can become a target because you can kind of be shaking up the status quo. And you might have an individual or even maybe a group who sees those type of things on the internet, and they'll come after you. Now, they'll do it very subliminally that's what happened with Sandra Bland, believe it or not. Sandra Bland had a YouTube channel, and she was doing all this stuff, all this revolutionary talk, all this stuff about the power systems and the structures and white people and da da da. And when she got stopped, that was orchestrated. So the whole situation with Korryn Gaines, in my honest opinion, it was a case of targeted harassment. When black people be making those YouTube videos, especially if you're a smaller one, you may get the wrong eyes looking at stuff. And it may happen to be like somebody that work in a certain district or have a position of power, and they could just pull your ass over and try to make an example out of you. Even if it is just to give you citation and to give you a hard day. Sometimes they be orchestrating stuff. They be knowing exactly who is who. So I personally believe that this was a case of gang stalking. When certain black people put videos on YouTube talking revolutionary, you can become a target if certain individuals with organizations decide to come after you. They will set you up. And here's a poem that Korryn Gaines put on the internet. So I'm going to just play this and, we'll get back to the commentary.
The Vampire Theory. Our blood reeks of royalty. They can smell it in the air. We're so used to our own scent, we cannot fathom what we bear. They know of our greatness. I'm just trying to taste it while others are trying to waste it, and the white man is trying to trace it. But even in trying to find what is truly beyond divine, they could never go back far enough. We're way beyond their time. Therefore, in the meantime, they hunt the queens and kings with crime. Used to hang us up with strings to trees and other things. Now they tote guns with beams and wrist rings. Same old ankle chains, still beating us the same. Ain't nothing changed. Except now they're trying to survive, can't find any use for us alive, not knowing we can't die. So while they're chasing blood, snatching bodies, eating babies, and raping our minds by having sex with our kind, they can only become us with every thrust. I trust they only raise our army, and I trust that we are righteous. Instead of creation, your imagination is nothing without creation, just as possibility is nothing without the pencil. Just like life doesn't matter without minds. We're going to talk about consciousness. To be conscious and aware is to know what is exactly going on around you. It is actually a superpower in this day and age. And if you are conscious, then you feel exactly where I'm coming from. To understand, understand, and learn to overstand that at any given moment, things can change or happen. To know that every second is new and can affect the times and situations all around you is an incredible revolution. Especially when you're being programmed down to how to feel about your own being. When someone has that much mind control over masses of people, you control the world and manipulate everyone's reality, demolish their truth, and control the future. With that being said,
so again, stuff like this is you hear what she was saying in the poem. You know, it's true. At the same time, it can piss off certain people, and that's what happened with Sandra Bland. She was putting radical stuff on her internet, what led to her being targeted by the police. And it'd be real small scale, and you know, next thing you know, Sandra Bland is dead, and they saying she committed suicide. That's what happened. You know, Korryn Gaines was going to all those conscious community meetings and all that shit. So, you know, that's what she was doing. And my thing is, the pushback that she got from the black community, and particularly black men, for doing exactly what Malcolm X said to do. And what all these black people in the conscious community act like they so, you know, about that life, about empowerment, we're talking. They all that by any means necessary and all that stuff. She was met with venom by black men, blaming her for her own death, even though she was shot by a white police officer, and saying she deserved it. She was a baby mama. She should have just complied. You know, she listened to all those black power niggas, following after them, talking about she a sovereign citizen and talking about status correction. And it brainwashed her to fight the power, all of that, fight the powers that be and all that shit, fight the state, never give in to the state and all this stuff. All of that shit she started to follow, and look where it got her. But my thing is, everybody in community turned on her, except for black women. Everybody, oh, she deserved it. Look at her. She's a baby mama, and oh, look at her. While she did what Malcolm X said to do, which is stand up for yourself. Nobody else in the community would even do what she did, and that's why I focused on her, because to be honest, I know women like her. I used to know a lot of women like her. When this shit happened, we all had egg on our face, and we all had to sit back and think twice about our whole approach to community, to movement work, to everything. Because there's a lot of black Americans running around here that didn't see anything wrong with what she did. But when we saw the backlash that she got, oh, she's a baby mama, and oh man, they ripped her a new one. I remember it like it was yesterday. Because my friends, they were so in denial. Because the other black women, they were so in denial. Oh, ain't black men saying that. I had the screenshots. I had the clips. I'm like, I had the YouTube videos pulled up. I'm like, bitch, look at this stuff that they saying about this woman. that was fighting, that was all about black power and black women, black men's, and fighting the state, and they got her ass knocked about the paint, and everybody laughed at her, because nobody is about that life. Ain't nobody really serious about their empowerment. If they was, they wouldn't be in this situation. Everybody talk about black excellence, black excellence. It's a fraud. If you was really about black excellence, you would have your own communities by now. You would be making some type of step towards building some racial enclaves, ethnic enclaves, practicing group economics or something. Why are you waiting for your reparations check? So all of this, everybody's about empowerment. It's all the sham, and that's what the fuck I needed to realize in 2015. That's what I remember this shit, because I was one of them. I'm one of them people, like, man, I'm not trying to, I already know I've been on the list since I was 22 years old and probably younger, because there is some weird shit that happened. I'm not even gonna get into it, but yeah, I was one of them niggas that was talking crazy like her, and I most likely got myself on the list at 22 years old. I remember it. I remember what I can't even talk about it, but so I'm aware of that, and but when this happened, I was like, whoa, this how the community would treat you if you are one of them black power niggas that's serious, but it really opened my eyes, into the state of this community and the fear of the men. Like, that's what woke my ass up. And I had to do a whole 360 on my approach. My whole outlook changed, because I was extremely radical. I was really, even my parents used to be really fearful for me. They used to be like, what can we do to kind of quell this anger? Like, I was really radical. Like, I was very angry at the injustice that black Americans faced. And I still am, but I'm not a fool anymore. Like, I was just reckless. And to be honest, Korryn Gaines was radical, in that sense, where she had nobody to tailor that energy and no strategy. She just was following whatever these men were saying out here. You gotta fight the powers that be, and make sure you stand your ground, and make sure you a sovereign citizen, and you got rights, and she went out there and got killed, and everybody in the community was boo-hoo the fool at her. Ha ha ha, you deserved it. And it wasn't even black women. And that's what I said. That's exactly what them niggas would do to me if I ever went out like that. But you see somebody like Chris Dorner get praised, but with Korryn Gaines just be like, look, y'all gonna have to kill me because I'm not compliant, because I have human sovereign rights. That's pretty much what she was saying. Like, I have human sovereign rights. Like, I don't have to abide by that kind of stuff that y'all try this. And she knew it was targeted harassment. She knew that they was watching them videos and all that stuff. She probably was surveillance. You never know. Like, when you be going to them conscious community meetings and all that stuff, they be taking pictures of your ass. I seen it myself. I'm telling you what I've been through myself. They'll take pictures of your ass there. They'll get your name, and they'll be reporting back, and next thing you know, like, they'll start doing little targeted harassment, gang stalking type stuff on your ass. And that's what happened with Sandra Bland and Korryn Gaines, but I used to be extremely radical, and to an extent, and I know other women that were like that. I know women that was worse than me with that, and we had to all sit down and have a nice little talk. I'm like, look what they're saying about this woman on here. Look how black men are saying. Look what they're saying about this lady. And that's when I realized I'm not going on a suicide mission for this community. They don't honor their women. They don't care about their revolutionaries in real time when it comes to a black woman riding out. They ain't give a fuck. You still don't see a movie for Frances Cress Welsing or nobody, none of them women that was. You don't see nobody looked out for any of these women. So. No one spoke bad about Michael Johnson or anything, but when they got tired of dealing with racism, and they dealt with it the way they felt necessary. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that was the case. When they felt injustice, and when they felt tired of dealing with the racism, and they did what they did, everybody praised them. But when Korryn Gaines get tired of dealing with racism, or Sandra Bland, they loudmouth, they should have complied. Oh, they defending this white man, defending him. This is what black men were doing, and I don't care what anybody say about it. I saw it with my own eyes. I still got the screenshot somewhere. I know women, we've been collecting data on this shit for years. We've like we know what we talking about. And it might not have been every man, you know, but it was enough to where even other men started calling it out, like, yo, why is y'all defending this? Why y'all defending her getting shot like that? Like, what's going on? Like, it was weird. It was really weird. And I'm like, damn, either y'all some fearful ass niggas, or y'all niggas is not ready for any type of true empowerment. Because if you was, you damn sure wouldn't have been coming at her like that. It would have, even if you didn't agree, even if it's something you wouldn't do, you just would have understood. Like, okay, I understood her pain. She felt that was necessary according to her walk and her path. That's what she was in the conscious community, listening to all that stuff. She was listening to Khalid Muhammad and all that. And you remember when Khalid Muhammad was saying, you take that club and you beat their ass. Everybody remember. We watched every speech that he ever made growing up. So I remember, like, damn, this is what they would say to me. This is what they would do to me. They would say, oh, that's what she deserved. She was loudmouth. She was brown skinned. She was this. She was that. Her hair was this. I'm like, that's what them niggas would do to me. And I'm like, I'm not putting my life on the line for some niggas that don't give a fuck about me. No. And I remembered it clearly because I got in an argument with my best friend. Because, again, a lot of black women, they love to be in denial of shit. They love being in denial of how they asses is not looked out for in this community. They love making all types of excuses as to why as to why this community is male identified as fuck, which is why this community is in the shape. That's really the reason why this community is in the shape that it's in, because of some covenants that was broken, not from Abrahamic covenants. There were other covenants that was made by this that's in the bloodline in this community that got overlooked, that got violated and put us under some serious malediction. That is what I'm trying to bring light to, because there is a way out of that. But when you just ignore it, refuse to study it, refuse to look at the pre-colonial history of how we even got into this situation, whether you're a North America indigenous person or you're from Africa, it's real. Those covenants that was broken by those oracles and symbols, that's the biggest shit you dealing with, believe it or not. That's the biggest crooks that you're dealing with, even more so than the Abrahamic covenants that some of you may have. So, you know, they were calling this woman crazy and saying that her death by this white man was ultimately justified in this police state. So I never forgot that. It made me real scared, because it's what the community would say about me if I was ever in a situation like that. And I remember thinking like her. I remember acting like her. I remember doing it. I wasn't ever into the sovereign citizen stuff. I remember being curious about it, but I never got something was scammy about it. You know, I've always been a critical thinker, so I'm like, that's a little too scammy for me. Something about that don't sound right. And it may have some truth to it. I think like the way Dr. Ali Muhammad presents it is digestible for me, and I respect him. So I think that the only person I'd ever seen talk about that type of stuff where it resonated with me was Dr. Ali Muhammad. He's a genius. But other than that, that stuff that Brother Polite was pushing, that clearly was. Look at the Facebook page of Brother Polite scam Facebook page from years ago. They would talk about that shit a good 10-15 years ago. That's why I'm like, when I saw all them scams, I actually know somebody, one of my friends that I grew up with, childhood friends that we still cool to this day, sued him for $250,000 and won, because he scammed him out of like 10 racks. Like, took the 10 racks, never helped him with his case, never helped him with nothing. So it was a scam. So it was a lot of people getting scammed with that in the community, and Korryn Gaines was one of them. She's a victim of being scammed by what these conscious community niggas acting like they is about that life, like they radical, like they really gonna build the nation again. They're gonna rebuild the Black American nation. These men, no, they're not. Absolutely, because if they was gonna do it, they would have done it by now. It's been 500 goddamn years. So she got played, and this story just really, if you can hear my voice, you can hear the passion in my voice, you can even hear some anger, because I remember thinking just like her. I remember seeing this shit and acting just like it, and I'm like, whoa. When her death hit me hard, her death grew me up a decade or so. Her death made me grow the fuck up. It really did. It made I was not rocking with a lot of that bullshit anymore, in terms of the sacrificial mule, of being sacrificed by this community, getting nothing out of it, getting nothing in return, and being the butt of jokes in this community. Oh no. That's when I started to really get into dark feminine energy. I started to study the occult. I started to really get into what is really the divine feminine all about. Why is it so suppressed in this community? Why is it so shunned and shamed? And I started to really understand why. And that's when I found out that a lot of this is covenant. It's a lot of it is spiritual warfare against the divine feminine, and particularly the Black woman. It's spiritual warfare against the Black woman. And I started to realize, I'm like, this shit is deep. Because I'm like, her death should not have warranted that response from her own community. It should have been like, everybody, even if you didn't agree, you should have just been silent. Like, you know what, that ain't no shit that I agree with, but you know, to each his own. Like, that's how she felt she needed to go out. Me personally, the police, I remember when the police was saying, like, we ain't trying to harm you, we know, we just want to, it was targeted harassment. I personally probably would have just did the Neely Fuller option, and just realized I was behind enemy lines or police lines, and just would have complied. Me personally, even back then, I remember reading some of Neely Fuller's work, and I would have just thought in my head, you know what, let me just see what this warrant is about, let me just see what this is about, and just get it over with. That just would have been my approach to it. But you know, I wouldn't judge someone like her. I would have had some understanding and some compassion for her. There was no compassion for her whatsoever. She got ripped to shreds. It was crazy, and it just made me think of reciprocation. It made me think of reciprocation and energy allotment, and whether the work I was doing was even worth it as a woman. It's worth it if you a man, but if you a woman, you know, I was just so heartbroken to see the weakness and fear in Black people. Like that right there, man. Like I can't stand weak niggas. I can't stand somebody just, you know, ooh, like ain't nothing, like when I'm not even gonna go there, because I don't want y'all to see that side of me yet, like of just seeing like weakness, weak. Oh, it's ridiculous. And I don't want to mule for a community that doesn't honor their own women. I don't honor intellectualism, don't honor things they need to be honoring. They don't honor just simple things that's going to put them in a position of power. They don't honor their revolutionaries. They make fun of them. You should have just complied, or you should have just you trying to demonize the white man and all that stuff. And you Black, not women, the men. So you only honor the people white people tell you to honor. Straight up. You only honor them. So to me, it's like, where's your critical thinking skills? Where is your self-preservation skills? Where is your self-empowerment skills? Where is your self-determination skills? I don't want to get on no bandwagon. I'm not trying to get on no soapbox, because that's not what this video is about. This video is about Korryn Gaines, but it really also it's so personal for me, because I remember during this time the way I was carrying on, the way I was approaching work, how radical I used to be. And I realized how dangerous that was for me as a woman, because you're going to be on an island of your own. You're going to have to deal with the harassment. You're going to have to deal with the surveillance. You're going to have to deal with all the stuff that comes with that. And I have been dealing with it, believe it or not. And nobody's going to give a fuck. And when you go out and say, oh, this organization is coming after me, this organization is sending sonar wave beams at my fucking brain, this people are trying to come get into my life, they agents, or they really handlers and all this stuff, nobody gonna believe you anyway. So it's like, should you even be doing that work? Should you even be trying to stand up as a woman? That's why a lot of black women don't stand up. That's why a lot of black women, you don't see another Winnie Mandela's running around here, or another Frances Cress Welsing. You don't see them running around here riding out like that. And the ones that the women, the way this community is breeding black women to be so weak-minded in terms of not tapping into their goddesshood and tapping into their genius. They don't. These women are being shunned almost from being. They think that they have to. They think that femininity is what colonial Western powers say it is, instead of tapping into what is melanated femininity. What does the black woman's femininity look like outside of what men dictate? Because we had our own systems pre-colonial times. We have documents of what women used to do, how women used to be before all this shit popped off, before we was ever at the boot of subjugation and oppression. And I've researched all of that. I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on with our communities, and whether that be Africa or North America? I'm like, that's why shit's so backwards, because they're not following their own systems, which is an egalitarian system. They want to follow, black people want to follow white people stuff when it comes down to their gender dynamics. They want to emulate it. And by doing that, they put themselves perpetually in the crossfire of the covenants that was broken between the ancient Sibyls, which were pretty much black witches that got burnt, that got killed, burnt alive, breasts cut off, burnt at the stake. And they put a lot of curses on melanated people as on their way to their death. And it was at least 10,000. Some are saying it was close to 50,000. But this all happened before the white man got involved. All of this stuff that I'm talking about, all this history that's buried. But yes, the black woman, she became the first target out of this whole thing with sex trafficking. And they went after the Sibyls first, the Queen Mother class, which was the class of royal bloodlines that were killed off because they were in power. This is a known thing that for every position that a male leader was in, you also had a female leader in black people's systems. It was not shunned. It was always, you always had kings. You always had queen mothers that were counsels to the king. And those men, and this was a system set up all throughout West Africa. And we didn't call them queen mothers in North America, but there was also the same governance of women. It's not so much women being in charge, because it wasn't like that. It was an egalitarian matriarchal system. So male leadership was not shunned or frowned upon at all. You always had male leaders. That's not the point. The point is that they had councils of queen mothers, and that they had the balance between men and women was there. The divine feminine, divine masculine. Everybody had their roles. Everybody had different roles, different functions, equal roles. And we had all those systems in place. And they were torn down systematically by the men. Nobody wants to talk about that. I broke that down in my Queen Mothership book, a first book that I wrote. And that's how you start to break covenants, because those covenants was based off of the design of the fucking universe. The way that the universe is designed, the way that the solar system is designed. These were pretty much occult teachings just being the norm in melanated people society in terms of governance. So we took the spiritual we took the spiritual to the mundane and merged it together in all aspects of life, particularly in the nobility class and even governance, how you run a structure, how you run a system. It was nothing for us to merge the divine and the occult and mystery sciences with everyday life. So that is what's missing from this community in terms of both. When there's a suppression around the divine feminine, the divine masculine automatically gets suppressed as well, because of the masculine, the rise from the divine feminine. This is something we also knew. This was something that was just normal talk. And you can see that in the governance of ancient pre-colonial systems that were ran by black people, melanated people. So you can see this. So if either I'm lying or I don't have any proof of what I'm talking about, but I do have proof. I have even more proof because I wrote that shit 2 years ago, and I used some sources. But now I even have more proof. So, to me, it's even, I have a lot of anger around this issue because, it sucks when you know that people is just comfortable, with being paid slaves in a system that they own zero infrastructure in. Like, that bothers me, but that doesn't bother the average black person. Like, it doesn't. I could tell they don't, because nobody's making a plan to get their ass up out of it. Very few are, and the ones that we get looked at, we get looked at like we're crazy. And they care nothing about getting in power. They don't. To me, it's like, shit, I'm tired of being at the bottom. I'm like, if you're supposed to be running some shit around here, what about starting a ethnic enclave that's like, tantamount to what like a little Chinatown would be and stuff? And I'm working on some shit. I'm about to release it. It's gonna be out. And I can say that because, again, I already know I've been being watched for a long time, so it is what it is. But her death made me leave all that radical shit behind. I started getting some strategy behind, and a strategy and plan, and stop being so angry, because that anger only affects you. It's like poison to the body. First of all, nobody is really serious. All these paid, controlled opposition actors that's in them folks' pocket, they got shit over their head, cases over their head, so they tell them, look, you gonna go and you gonna, or either that or they gatekeepers. So there's not really, like, all this stuff is a sham, and that's what I realized. Like, this stuff is just fake. So if you are like me, or if you are like, say, a Korryn Gaines and black woman, and I'm talking to some of the men too, because there are some writers, there are some men that straight writers. We got to link up, but we also got to have some strategy and some plans. You don't want to just go out like this, because the community will turn on you. They don't care. Your death will be in vain. So you want to be strategic, and in terms of how you're going to implement change in your communities and institutions you build. And you want to build with like-minded people. That's for sure. And you want to tailor your speech and tailor to an extent, not even so much for the powers that be, but so much because you have to protect your energy and preserve your prana when you face backlash from your own community. It's not going to be so much, of course you got to be strategic to make sure you stay alive, but then it's like nobody cares. You do all that radical work and all that stuff and revolutionary work, and nobody care about Darren Sills. Nobody cares about Thomas Sankara, but me and some other people. Nobody. They just died, and that's it. Nobody cares about Fred Hampton. And that, look how he was done. Like, that shit is real. People setting you up and checking, monitoring you, and then you think they your friend, and you think that they got your back, and you are naive. That shit is real. When William O'Neill's is real, man, around here. That shit is real like a motherfucker. In 2022, people, you be thinking that y'all both about to build a nation, change the whole world. You ain't changing this system like that. Not two people, not one or two people. You can, but you got to be savvy about stuff. And all of that radical talk that we would listen to and that stuff about, the white man and he did this and all that stuff, man, you better live your damn life as a black woman. And I've learned the hard way, and I have friends that have learned the hard way, male friends too. I have male friends that rolled out and completely were abandoned by the black community. Every move they do is watch, they're targeted, harassed. They're the same thing when they show up to your house and keep pulling you over and all that. They do it the same thing. So this is serious. For those who are like me, and for those who are like they may see themselves in her too. you want to have some strategy in your game, and you want to realize that you are on an island of yourself. These people are completely brainwashed beyond anything you could ever imagine, and it is so painful and it's frustrating. Sometimes it's very, very angering, because it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's like, when is, like, when are we gonna make a, I'm not even gonna say that. But it's like, as a teacher, and I love my people, but I know that for there's some mental illness. We all deal with mental illness, so there's nothing to be ashamed of, because I deal with my own shit. I'm not mentally ill, but I have like anxiety and stuff and whatnot. Sometimes I deal with like depression and anxiety, and it is what it is. But I'm talking about like trauma-induced mental illness. A lot of Black Americans are dealing with that, and maybe I think it's global, because I see the way them Africans thinking. Oh my gosh, you think our people might be psychologically enslaved or psychologically, mentally colonized. Oh, you ain't see nothing. You ain't see nothing till you talk to them Africans. Boy, that's colonization of the mind of something you ain't never seen. So I don't even think I would call it trauma-induced mental illness. That's just mental slavery. That's just mentally colonized. So we're dealing with a lot of Black people that are mentally enslaved, mentally colonized, and that is the worst type of Black people to be around, to be honest, because they will get you killed. They will stop progress in this community. So anybody that is the opposite, if you're not mentally colonized, if you're a Black person that is not mentally colonized at all, and you have done the work and you're a critical thinker, I'm telling y'all, start linking up with other people that is just like you. Please link up with other people that's just like you. Don't waste time trying to save anybody or try to wake anybody up. You're not going to wake these niggas up. You're not going to wake them up. Okay? They're done. And it's so much controlled opposition out here that is working 24/7 to keep this status quo in place. And they're Black. And they're Black men. Okay? So you're not going to wake anybody up. You need to only link up with people that's just like you, and there's going to be very few people. You're going to be talking about maybe less than 10% of the Black American community of Black people globally. Maybe 10%, maybe 5%, because everybody else is just brainwashed out of their goddamn mind, and they have no fight in them. They will not be standing up to any white supremacy anytime soon, so you can forget it. They ain't standing up for nothing. So Black women, you better wake your ass up too. You better wake your ass up, because the covenants that was designed around your bloodline has been broken 2,000 years ago. So you thinking that somebody about to be loyal to you and ride out for you and build you another empire and build you the stuff they used to build you back in the day? They ain't doing that shit. Look at this drill music. Look at these music. They got videos of the niggas with the guns in their hands. They got videos all talking about shooting each other, talking about killing each other, talking about selling drugs to their community. And this is what they want us to glorify and put on a pedestal. These type of drill music and stuff like that. You better wake your ass up. If the community truly love themselves, would they be carrying on like that? If Black people truly love themselves, would they be in a video with a bunch of guns with pigtails in their head, pointing the guns at the camera, talking about I got him, we're gonna kill him, and he's gonna be done, and he's finished out here, and we're shooting each other, and I'm gonna hit a lick? And would anybody be talking like that? If they really? Would you have 72% out of red light, or out of wet? Let me stop, because I gotta heal. I gotta heal from my own disappointment. My own disappointment in this community. I gotta heal, and I know that my love transcends my disappointment, because I'm still here, and I could go and I could really. I graduated from Ivy League. I have businesses. I could just go into the matrix and just work and make it. You don't think that an investor, a white millionaire investor, ever approached me before? Come on, with the way my mind works and the way my brain is, you don't think I ever been approached before? I could have been sold out. I could have been just let me go in the matrix, fuck these niggas, and I never did that. I'm still here, so I know that my love is there, but I know I'm getting tired, and I know I'm real tired of is black women being disrespected. I'm real tired of these queen mothers not standing up. Anybody that's from the descendant of those symbols. I'm a bloodline descendant of the primordial mothers themselves. I am a bloodline descendant. I am an incarnation of the primordial mothers on this planet Earth. So that's why my energy is so different. That's why I think so differently than other women, because most of the women that were like me got killed and burnt alive, breasts chopped off, raped, sex trafficked. But some of us are still here. Some of us, a lot of the times they do just abandon y'all. But there are some of us that are still here on this planet, and we're trying to really work with our community to get it back on its track, because we want to see the community be empowered. We want to see the community be self-sufficient. We want to see the community thriving again and loving one another. We want to see that. But if y'all not gonna work with the primordial mothers, and if y'all gonna shun this divine feminine energy, and y'all gonna want to continue to suppress it, I'm gonna just go back in motherfucking Matrix. I'm not playing it. I'm not long suffering mammy. I'm not a fucking mammy. I'm not doing that. I'm not no mule. I'm not none of that. Y'all gonna do what I say. We're gonna build a community. I got a whole plan laid out. We're gonna do right by each other. We're gonna be righteous to each other. And it's not gonna be everybody. I'm taking about 10%. I'm taking about less than 10% of the Black American community, and we're gonna build, and we're gonna rock out. We're gonna build something real great for ourselves. And when we get the reparations, we're gonna flip that shit. When we get the reparations check, we're gonna flip that shit. But while we waiting, we got a plan. We got a plan of action and strategies to empower ourselves. We're gonna be a small little community. Don't think it's gonna be everybody. And once we do it, once we put in that work, in terms of procuring everything that we need to procure that a civilization would need. Once we do that shit, we not sharing with nobody that did not help us, because this community would sacrifice us in a heartbeat. So if you are male, if you are a female, I don't care about your gender. Okay, I'm not here to bash your gender. But I'm talking about the matriarchal egalitarian systems that we know that we had, that was overturned for the age of Pisces. I will break down all of the history. I've already did it, but I mean, like, once we actually start to get into the building aspects of it, we're going to have men leadership, we're going to have female leadership in all aspects of governance, and we're going to see it, and it's going to look very interesting once you get the governance and the structure set up. Then you start the actual building and the planning, and we got all the building and the plans already set out. So we'll be doing that together. And again, I'm taking about less than 10%. I don't really care about class. I care about the content of your character and your state of your fucking consciousness and your soul. Your state of your consciousness is what matters to me. Your intelligence level is what matters to me, and is in a love in your heart and willpower in your heart to see yourself in a position of power. That's what's important to me personally. I really don't care about anything else in terms of like shallow stuff. It's about your heart. It's about what's inside your heart. So Black Americans, I know I was a little rough on y'all in this video. I know I was very rough, because I know what I've seen. I know what I experienced firsthand doing this type of work. And I just don't like weakness. I understand that you may not agree with what Korryn Gaines did and her approach. I understand that. But like the way people just was dogging her, I never respected that. And it opened my eyes to see how scary niggas are. How scary you niggas are. And I don't want no parts of anybody that's like that. I want the best of Black Americans, and I'm gladly gonna say that. I don't care how elitist it sounds, because I just said I don't care about so much the shallow materialistic stuff. I care about the content of the character, the heart, your willpower. Are you willing to build a queen mothership with me? I don't care if you are male. I don't care if you're female. Are you willing to let's make some moves around here, seriously? And we're gonna do that. And is more information gonna be coming about it, because we're primed for evolution, man. We primed for, by that I'm talking about evolution of consciousness. Man, we should have been on it. We should have been back in power, man. We should have been back in power as melanated people. That's why I'm like, when are you gonna do it? Ain't you tired of being at the bottom? Because I am. I know you gotta be tired. Shit, I'm not saying we gonna do nothing crazy. I'm not saying that. We gonna have it's a very strategic plan. We not doing nothing illegal. We not gonna be bothering nobody. We just gonna be having our own enclave. Well thought out plan. So when I release this information, don't think that, I'm trying to, bash, I'm not trying to like bash black people or anything. That's not the goal of what I was trying to say in this video. I just was showing my heart. Like I'm really showing how like I am disappointed. I am kind of bummed some days. Like I do be wondering, like, why am I doing this? Why do I care so much? Why am I doing this? Why? Because nobody else give a fuck. Should I just go in the Matrix? Shouldn't I just go and make my money and just mind my motherfucking business and go live in the Matrix? Let me just go do that shit, because nobody else give a fuck. That's what I be thinking some days. And I have a lot of strong fortitude, and I believe I stand on principle. It's like right is right, wrong is wrong. And I don't like how my people get treated. I don't like that shit. So it's like I speak up about it. I want to encourage self-esteem in my community. I want my community to have high self-esteem and to love themselves and to work together and to practice group economics and to start to build for themselves. I want that. I want to see black people in a position of power. I want to see somewhere, somehow, a black nation that got their shit together. Like all that stuff we see in Wakanda, the Black Panther movie, like I want that shit to be real. It ain't real, but I want it to be. Like, wouldn't that be nice? Like, whether, I don't care if it's in America or Africa. Shit, in Africa, man, y'all on a whole nother level, man. Like, y'all really mentally enslaved. Like, it's real sad talking with y'all. Like, you think, man, I could talk to my people will at least understand me. My people will at least, even if they don't agree with everything, they still be like, you know what? I understand what she's saying. Yeah, I felt that way sometimes. Or I know what you mean. But like, if I was to go and talk like this with Africans, I would really be looking crazy. They would really be shunning. They would throw stones at my ass. To get out of here with that talk. You gonna get us killed. You gonna, But at least my own people. There's some of them out there that will ride with me. It's some of them like, you know what? Let's do what we got to do because we tired of this. But black woman, keep your head up. If you are like me and you're doing revolutionary work, or you are challenging some aspect of this system to try to make it more fair for black people as a woman, have some strategy, have some self-preservation skills. Do not feel obligated. Don't feel like you have to be a mule if you see that your community don't care about you. Take them to task. Call them out on that shit. Call them out. Evidence that they not doing what they supposed to be doing, and call them out. And a lot of this stuff, you wouldn't believe how many people are just paid actors out here, man. But if you one of them real ones, start and stack your money. Save your money too. Save your money, because you never know. Like a lot of times, they drive us broke. Like you really do be poor righteous teacher and shit like that. Or so you gotta save your money as much as possible. Stack your racks and start to get in creative about how you can get some more money in terms of starting your own business and whatnot. And have this community support you. Tell this community, look, I don't mind doing this full time for you. I don't even mind dying. But your motherfuckers gonna support around here. And if not, I'm going right back into the Matrix. This is what black people be thinking. This is what your intellectuals be doing. This is what your scholars be doing. If y'all haven't noticed, this is what your intellectuals be doing, because you treat them like shit. I'm telling you, I'm one of the last. I'm a rare gem around here. I'm a rare gem to be around here talking the way I talk, with my credentials, with my skill set. My background is in technology. I have a couple of backgrounds, and I'm an ordained minister. Like I could go and do it. I could go start a church and be pimping and be pimping the gospel and making my money. And you know, when you start a 501c in the church, you can't speak on nothing political anymore. You can't speak on nothing controversial anymore. We all know that. I could just go and do that shit and be preaching Christianity to black folk, you know, and and then go work. We get one of them six-figure. All my friends got six-figure jobs. We all went to Ivy League and we all in tech. I could just go do that shit. Fuck y'all niggas. Fuck y'all. Y'all want me to do that? No. You don't want me to do that. I don't want to do it either. But y'all gotta show love, show some respect to y'all people that's there for you. I don't care if it's a male or a woman, man or woman. Show some respect to the people that's out here fighting for you. Please don't abandon them. Support their work. I got books. Buy my fucking books. My books are fucking enlightening as fuck. And I'm not trying to be dramatic, but I know for a fact some of that shit that I wrote got me even more fucking on the list. Some of that stuff that I put out there, because I get into the occult of things. I have other stuff that I have said and certain information that I've put out that's not related to like maybe revolutionary work, but it's still on a level where it will enlighten your ass. You know, but you know, support my work, support what we doing out here, support the moves we trying to make out here. Don't just leave us hanging. You know, don't be entitled to motherfuckers' energy. You're not entitled to somebody standing up for your ass. You're not entitled for, if you ain't standing up for your own ass, don't think somebody else gotta do it for you. Shit. You better respect the people that stand up, that put their neck on the line and don't give a shit, that don't give a damn about dying. Some people really just don't give a shit. I don't fear death. I really don't fear nothing. I don't want to be tortured or nothing, though. I have to say, like, I ain't gonna put myself in a position where I get tortured. But, like, some motherfuckers just don't care. They just, like, they gonna speak the truth and they don't give a fuck. And if you speak the truth, a lot of hatred is coming your way. If you are a truth teller, hatred is coming your way. It is. It sure is. So, you gotta be very careful. You know? And if you're not afraid to speak the truth, that's what Korryn Gaines was doing. Korryn Gaines was doing that shit on YouTube and got her ass killed. Gang stalked and harassed and targeted and killed. That's really what happened to her. Same with Sandra Bland. Same with Ozone. What's his name? Ozone. Same thing with him. Believe it or not, he was another one that really hurt my heart. That's another one that hurt my heart really bad. But even Darren Sills, targeted harass shit they do, where they pulling you over every chance to get. You know, that's a real thing. So, start caring about your revolutionaries. Start caring about your intellectuals. Start caring about people who stand up for your ass. That's real. Stop honoring fucking gangbangers and celebrities and people like Nick Cannon that's having all these babies out of wedlock, and y'all just weak. I don't see how you're gonna get in the power with that kind of carrying on. I don't see how you're gonna get in power with that. Y'all love bashing women. Anytime you get a chance, it's always the black woman's fault. How you gonna get in power doing that? Do y'all want power? I mean, am I crazy? Do you like being at the bottom? You like living under this caste system? I guess. And many of you are saying it don't exist. Many of you are saying that there is no such thing as white supremacy, or there is no such thing as a caste system. Even if you feel that there's more black, and I honestly believe that there are more black people involved in keeping the system in place than what we give credit for. I get that. There are black people that's really behind the scenes, that pull strings with this system as far as keeping it in place. And we see that in banana republics. We see that in puppet. Let me not even get into all that, because I cannot be talking about too much about that kind of stuff. But that's true. But you cannot deny that there is not a caste system, like a racial caste system. Even if the proxy powers are not as white as we may think. That may be true, but then again, it still exists. We could quantify that. So I'm going to get off my soapbox. I know I was really angry in this video, and I didn't even mean to come out that way. It's just like, it's just a bit of frustration, and very few people can relate to that. Again, certain Black Americans are going to be able to relate to what I said, and they're going to be like, they're going to get it. So, you know, I think the average Black American probably cannot relate to anything I said, and I think they're probably like, what the fuck is she talking about? You know, but Korryn Gaines brought all this out of me because she really woke me up to get more strategy as a woman, to have more self-preservation, to be less radical in terms of the stuff that I was thinking at 24 years old and stuff. And that's it. You know, her death will not go in vain, because I want to shed light to her, and I understood I understood what she was doing. I understood. I wouldn't have done it, but I understood her, because I understood she was in that conscious community shit. She was listening to them men, the Black Power niggas tell her, you're a sovereign citizen. Don't let nobody pull you over, and you don't fight back, and you stand up. And she was listening to your status is corrected and all that bullshit. She was listening to that shit. I know she was, because I was at one point too. And where do it get you? Where do it get you? A bullet in your ass. That's what it get. I don't mean to say it like that, but it gets you nowhere as a woman. If you're a man, that's different. But in this community, if you're a woman, you're gonna get clowned doing that. You're gonna get clowned. And again, this work is very thankless. Where is Frances Cress Welsing documentary at? Where's her movie at? Why one of you niggas ain't do a movie for her yet? Where is Shiraz Ali's video or documentary at for her? Where they did all that work all them years and nothing. And you can talk to Frances Cress Welsing. Anybody, even though these women are on the other side. I mean, I think Shiraz Ali is still alive. Even though you know, she may be on the other side. Psychic mediums are intuitive, spiritual intuitives. I'm a spiritual intuitive. We can still talk with Frances Cress Welsing. She's not happy. All her work and the community still run around with chickens with their heads cut off. Still ain't do shit. Still ain't busting a grape. Do you think these women happy? And Frances Cress Welsing was dead in her house 3 days before somebody found her. The police found her. Where was anybody checking on her at? All that work she did. She had an actual PhD. She was an actual doctor. She's an MD or PhD, one of them. But she turned all that down, her accolades down, and to help Black folk figure out they shit. To help Black folk. What she get for it? Nothing. Y'all ain't doing that shit to me. Hell no. Hell no. Y'all niggas gonna get some act right around here. That's on God. Because the covenants, you're under a malediction anyways. You're under dermatuge to the primordial mothers. Now, whether you want to admit that or not, that's on you. But it's like, this shit is ancient. This stuff is, most of y'all are just time looping anyways, through the ages. So, and you don't have to time loop, but you don't know how to break those cycles, because we all have been lied to as humanity in terms of what reincarnation is, and what a time loop and even how a time loop can play out. Or you don't understand how serious it is. So covenants are broken, and Black people are living living with the consequences of breaking covenants of their own system. And not Abrahamic systems and all that. Some of you may be under that, but I'm talking about the ones where you fucked over them Sibyls. The ones where the Black woman's power was stripped. Those ones where we went from a matriarchal egalitarian system to a patriarchal system, right on the cusp, when these men wanted to work with this white man. That's what we cover it up. We ain't waking that up. How these men wanted to work with this white man and turned on their own woman for it. That's the shit that I'm angry about. And that's what we living under. To this day, we still dealing with the effects of that shit. And until we get right under the right covenants with the primordial mothers and the dark goddess, until we get right with them, then ain't nothing going our way. And that's a fact. That's a fact. That is the absolute fact. I can prove it on every measure. On every measure. Until we get right with them, they on our necks. Not on my neck, because I'm a bloodline descendant. I'm an incarnation to help my people get from under to get back in to honor those covenants. They don't have to. It's not even a covenant. It's dermatuge. It's like literally like an order. That's an order. That's just universal law. You know, if you go against universal law like that and try to change the laws of electromagnetism, your ass is grass. Your ass is doomed. Whether it was black people that did it, white people that did it, it don't motherfucking matter. Everybody got their orders that they follow. Everybody got a universal order that's in their epigenetics, that's in their blood, that's innate to them. It's instinct. Just like you got an instinct to suck on your mom's breast when you come out the damn vagina, you got an instinct. You got an instinct when it comes to structure between men and women. And when that get disobeyed and dishonored because you want to overthrow the divine feminine, because you hate the divine feminine, your ass is grass. It's a rat. So until we get right with them, ain't nothing gonna go well our way. And that's what was told to me. And that's what's been happening for the last hundreds and hundreds of years. In Africa, in North America, in the Caribbean, until you get right with these symbols. Until you get right with the ancient primordial mother. Yep. Tiamat, Kali, Arishkagal, all these goddesses that's been abandoned. Kali Ma, that's been hated, that's been demonized. The daughters of Lilith, demonized. The daughters of Lucifer, demonized. I know I'm getting way too deep. I know I got way too deep. I know I done lost y'all. But I'll break it down in a way you can understand it. I ain't telling nobody to do nothing crazy. I'll break down the spiritual science. I'll break it down. Okay? For the Black Americans to understand it. For the African to understand it. I'll break it down. And whoever understands it they can save themselves. Save yourself. Because this is deep. This is spiritual. You don't just go from the level of power that you have as black people to just, you don't got no motherfucking power for the last 1,000 years and nobody questioning why, how we got in this situation. How did it even happen? Who left the gate open? Nobody is asking these questions. Some of the women did. My master teacher did. One of the women that I learned from did. She sure did. She brought all that stuff alive. But yeah, this is backwards. This whole world is backwards, and it's not a coincidence. You don't just go from having your own empires, your own civilizations, to just being slaves for 500 years and shit, and then you get out of slavery, and then you still at the bottom, and some other foreigners is running your every infrastructure. Hell no, that ain't normal. And ain't nobody that more powerful than you. They not smarter than you. They're not fucking smarter than you. And it's not an ego thing. They just not. We got history of your civilizations and empires. They're not more gifted than you. So what the hell really going on? What's really going on? Let's really answer that. Ain't nobody just controlling your ass like that for those 1,000 years, unless you letting them. Man, y'all let me shut the fuck up. Unless something is wrong. Something ain't right. Let me get off this damn thing. I don't talk too long. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. I love y'all. Keep your heads up. I don't mean no goddamn harm. I'm just speaking my shit. We'll talk. I'll be in better spirits. We'll talk. And we'll build. Oh, more importantly, building better than talking, ain't it? I know you know that. We will build. We will love. Loving is better than talking, right? We will love. We will build. We will be one. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Bye.